Welcome to the Life Chat Podcast, seeking the truth with Derek Powell, navigating you through. Every Wednesday night, new topics ignite. Join the journey, let's take flight. Bringing insights that change our view. Derek's voice, clear and true. Tune in each week, discover new light. Life Chat Podcast, reach a new height.
Okay, y'all caught me partying. I was partying for a minute. My bad. But welcome to Life Chat Podcast one more time. Thank you for being a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. Right here, Life Chat Podcast, where we discuss real life topics, real life experiences, but the ultimate goal is to offer a solution. And speaking of solutions, I think I found a solution to one of my issues I've been dealing with, y'all. I've been working on trying to get my little belly down, and I think I found a solution as far as drinking a little bit more water, a little more fruits and vegetables, and stop messing with so much grease. 'Cause I'm just expanding. I'm expanding in the wrong way. But anyway, I'm here. Here we go with Life Chat Podcast. And the topic for tonight is Pieces of Me, featuring Mr. Isaiah Lee. And once again, y'all, we always hear that car pull up, that big limousine just pulled up. So here's my man, Mr. Isaiah Lee.
What up?
What's going on, Mr. Lee?
Man,
I gave it. You just got the big introduction. So here's your applause. We just gave you your applause. Okay, so I'm just gonna jump right into it, man. Give us a little background of who you are, where you're from, and we roll from there.
All right, Isaiah Lee, originally from Chester, PA, but in Delaware since 2002. Christian hip hop artist, visionary, speaker, leader. Just all around me, man. Really, I ain't gonna lie to you.
All right. So as far as when you mentioned the Christian hip hop artist, first thing that comes to my mind is I remember when when I first started hearing about you and the converse with you on I think it was Messenger a few years ago, and it wasn't Christian hip hop. It was more secular. So you want to give us talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, nah. So when I first started doing my music, it was mainly about me. Like I would make it like motivational, but it would be geared toward myself. So in the midst of me doing that, I would tell people, "Hey, Jesus loves you and this and this," but I still got things in my life that's not correct. I'm still selfish, prideful, angry, all types of stuff. And I actually was gonna stopped doing music for maybe a year and a half. And what ended up happening was the Lord was like, "We're gonna sit you down, get you right." I was going through a lot. Ended up getting baptized, I think September 3rd of 2023. Then going from there, the Lord just refined me and he finally brought me back into music, but he made me do it for him because he's making me realize I'm getting the glory out of all this. And if you don't understand that, then you can't do it.
All right. And that was short that was simple and to the point.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like sets you apart from other artists in that genre?
So me personally, I would say probably not even my story because everybody says that. Just the fact that I'm willing to serve somebody and willing to transform somebody's mind. There's a guy, he had passed away. His name is Miles Monroe. He was like a transformational leader, Christian type of speaker. And I would watch him a lot. And when he would speak in transformation form, there's a lot of transformation people that speak, motivational speakers like E.T. the hip hop preacher that I know of. But when it came to Miles, he was speaking how I understood it, but through biblical principles. So what I ended up doing was I've always been motivational, but the Lord will take what you used to do and he'll refine it for him. So he ended up taking my whole motivational message, turning it into a transformational message and sharing it that way. So when you listen to my music, that's what you're going to get. Like I recently just wrote a song yesterday and recorded it and I'm putting it out. Actually got a project coming out in October. But I made the song yesterday. The song is called "What's Your Excuse?" And part of the bars and one of there was flipping 5 with it too. He knew the struggle. You got 5 with it too, so you can multiply the hustle. The 5 with it too is 5 loaves and 2 fish, and he fed that to the 5,000. So with that, it's like, what's your excuse that you can't take what you have and flip it and change somebody's life as well? So that's the whole idea of my music and what I have based off of that. But the brand overall now was Stormbreakers, but now it's called Visionary Faith.
You took that took some thought. Just the way that you broke that down with the meaning of the song and actually put that out there now. That really took some thought. It wasn't just something that just hit you immediately, I'm assuming.
Now, so the fun fact is all my music that I'm putting out now, I'm not writing. And when I say I'm not writing, I don't mean like actually not writing. I'm still writing it down on my phone. But I'm not writing it like it's not my thoughts. It's God's thoughts. So whatever he puts in my mind to write down, I write it down and it comes out the way it's supposed to.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you. So when did you realize when did music choose you? You know, because we're going to eventually throughout in this podcast, in this episode, we're going to move on to something different. But right now it's about your music and how you got there. When did music find you?
Fun fact. So I played drums. Let my parents tell it. I started at 5 years old. I remember being in my house in Chester, banging on pots and pans with my homies. And then we going from there, and I played drums in church. And then rap, I actually started at 15, my sophomore year of high school. I went by I had thousands of names, from Young Bars to Young Soldier to Young Lee, like a lot of names.
Everything was young.
Yeah, literally. But I guess I was trying to find myself. My brother actually, he had a record label. He still kind of has it a little bit, called Global Recording Group, which is in Philadelphia, which is where he's from. And he had my cousin Zach, which was his artist. So they did stuff with like T.I., Grand Hustle. They were in a couple movies as far as like soundtracks. And then one day my mom they did Battle of the Bands for Power 99. I remember, I think it was like the early 90s, I think. And they ended up listening to him and they were excited. I was like, man, I want my mom to be excited about that too. So when I started making music, my mom was like, if you do it, you can't cuss. So when I made music in the world, I never cussed in my music. So when I came over, So when I came over to this side, it was easy.
I remember checking out some of your stuff too back in the day, and well, not back in the day, but a couple years ago, I guess. And that's one thing I noticed, that it wasn't all about that. That wasn't part of your style in your music. So since we're still talking about music again, what do you feel is your biggest biggest accomplishment as far as music?
So as far as like now or prior?
Either or.
Okay. Prior would actually be able to perform crazy. I met Dave East when he first started getting popping. I met him in Philly.
I knew that was going to be it. I knew that was going to be the one. I remember seeing that picture. He was this tall. You was like this tall.
Tall dude. He was skinny. So I met him in Philly. It was a crazy story how I met him. I met him in Philly and I talked to him and I said, when you come to Delaware, I'm gonna open up for you one day. Crazy part is maybe a year and a half later, he came to Delaware for a tour stop and I was selected to open up for him. And so that opened up a door for me to go from him to from PD Crack to one of my dopest shows that was like my greatest show for me when I was doing that music was Ja Rule when he came to the Queen. So I ended up being like the top artist to perform on every single stage that they had. I was supposed to go on tour with, crazy part is I was supposed to go on tour with Dave East for probably like 2 or 3 dates. But we just did the miscommunication. Like we just lost communication along the way with me and his management. Because they on tour, they busy and they moving. But that was a highlight for there. So now I'm more so just releasing the music. That's my highlight now, releasing the music and letting people tell me, hey, this changed my life. This helped me do this helped me do that. Versus because when I did it prior, I was getting the praise. You see what I'm saying? So now the Lord is getting the praise and I'm just putting the music out.
Okay. And with the music, so now we're going to move on a little bit. So with the music, a lot of times there's a majority of all the time, I'm going to say all the time, there's a story in every song. Mm-hmm. There's something that people can relate to in every song. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, where does your story fit in with your music? Is there a piece of you in every song? Is there part of your story in every song? Is there one specific, because like there are people that have one album, like one whole album might be geared toward a story throughout somebody's life. Well, how would
Yeah.
that? How does that work out for you? Is that is your what part of your story plays a part of your
So
music?
faith within this. So honestly, it's all about obedience. Faith within the storm was the mixtape, and the Lord was like, "Hey, I need you to put this out. Do this." Did it. Boom. Out of obedience, I didn't want to put it out. I wasn't trying to put any music out. I was going to do probably like 1 or 2 projects a year, but I did it out of obedience. That's where that came from. So this new project I'm putting out, which is called Visionary Faith, is a piece of me. All of these are pieces of me. I had to have faith within the storm that I was when I first dropped my first tape. Now I did it out of obedience. I had to learn to be obedient. Now with this one is visionary faith. Now I got faith within this vision that God has given me. So what's going to end up happening now is every single song is basically saying this is part of me, but I'm you at the same time. I was there when I made excuses. Now I know how to hustle and make it right and change it the way the Lord wants me to. I have a song called Qualified. That was how I personally felt, but I ended up talking to the person when I'm saying it. Like, I guess you say third person.
Well, wait, you just mentioned a piece of something, and I want to know, uh,
Mhm.
um, what is the goal? What is your goal with your music and your story? What is your goal? Because I think I've read something before about and you just mentioned it about storms, and I saw
Yes.
something about empowering people through
Yeah.
storms or something. Can you clear that up for me?
Yeah, nah, for sure. So it was actually Stormbreakers. And what ended up happening was that was geared toward in the Bible, there's a verse with Peter when he was walking. Basically, the Lord was on the water, and Peter was like, "Yo, is that you?" And he came out and walked to him, and everybody was in the boat, and they was looking like, "Who is this? Who is this?" Long story short, Peter ended up walking to Jesus, but there was storms, and he ended up getting scared. He fell under the water. Jesus got him up and took him back into the boat, and then he said, "Peace be still," to the sea, and it calmed down. And that was my first initiation to, I guess you could say, the brand, which is Stormbreakers. But I feel the Lord now telling me, now you broke the storm. That was a season that you was in. You broke the storm for probably like 3 to 6 months. Now you about to have visionary faith, and we about to take this to a whole new level. And I'm gonna still keep Stormbreakers because that's still part of it. Because there's still people in the storm. There's people that haven't got to the visionary faith portion yet. They still in the storm. But if they see someone like me or like you or anybody else that's watching, they're looking and seeing, oh, when I get out of this storm, this is the vision that I'm gonna have. This is the vision, and this is the faith I need to have because I'm gonna get out of here.
Mm. And I'm glad you mentioned that too, because a lot of us we have our storms,
Yeah,
and not saying that the storm is over. And I always throw this out there in a lot of my episodes about my storms. Not to be selfish, but my storms,
sure.
as far as my addiction, that's like one of the biggest parts of my story, and that's why I do what I do now, as far as having this platform and doing the video, doing the things that I do, and being in contact with different people, because I want to try to get the word out about addiction and recovery and all that, right?
Right,
So that's the part that I play, right?
right.
And so with what you have going on, as far as you also have a company,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
not
yeah,
mistaken,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
So the
I think
company
that's
is,
geared towards similar situations, but maybe not substance abuse, but geared to the similar situation. And can you talk about that?
yeah, for sure. So the company is actually called Visionary Faith. So what I've learned is that just outside of my biblical beliefs, everything is a brand, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. I think a lot of people go into things like it's just business, business, business. But you could have a great business and a horrible brand. You can have a great brand and a hard. You can have a great brand with horrible business, I should say.
Mhm.
So with Visionary Faith, I'm kind of like my music is like the soundtrack to the brand. So when you hear it, you know what sound it's like, you know what you're going to get. You know that you're going to hear faith, you're going to hear a vision, you might hear punchlines. Now, me personally, I grew up on battle rap, but I'm not a crazy punchline rapper.
Oh, solo.
Yeah, 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 yeah. If you know what I'm saying. That's my dog. I like Solo. That's my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
But
grew up. I grew up on the DVD era, really. So I grew up on the Reed Dollars, the Joey Jahaz, and Meek Mills, those guys. Then when they started battling, I checked out my first battle I ever watched was Dose and Mav Hopper, and that was a whole different story. If you know, you know.
math,
So
math, especially math.
yeah, yep. So when it came to so now when it came to my music, I was like, okay, I could do punchlines, which is great. But then I realized, not saying everybody, but most people, you if you're too lyrical, they can't catch it.
Yeah.
Some of them. And what I realized is if you can just get straight to the point, it'll be cool. But you can still have quotables. Like we're living in a world now where it's quotables. If you notice on Facebook, Instagram, social media, everything is a quotable. And when you figure that out, you're like, oh, I can make music how I think, but also people can quote it and walk through life with it, such as an artist named Larry June. You know, he's super quotable. He's not super lyrical, but he's rapping his real life. He just does it on music and he shows it. Same thing with Nipsey Hussle. He wasn't crazy lyrical, but he's giving you motivation, entrepreneurship, and ownership.
And not only that, you know, which is the positive. Not only that, it definitely gives you like certain people. They'll give you the real thing, the real issues, the real situations that's going on. We can't hide from it in the street.
Yeah,
You know,
bro.
they give you the positive, they give you the pro and the con. You know,
Yeah.
and that's what I listen for. But I'm an old school hip hop dude. Rakim's still that's my favorite artist of all time. But yeah, but that was real insightful too, man.
Yeah.
But what about you had something else called motivated by losses.
Yeah.
Motivated by losses. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah,
That's the first one I remember.
That one was my first brand I really had. That was more losses was literally that portion that was really part of my life. You know, me losing my girlfriend, she was, you know, burnt, thrown in the river. My best friend that lived down the street from me, she was you know, she passed away. My best one of my homies, Richie, passed away. Like it was so much death around me, so much negativity, and I kept going. And then I just used those losses like, man, I'm motivated by all this death, by me and my family going through it, me and my friends. And then, you know, me going to church and just not really knowing everybody in church because I was kind of not, I was always raised in church, but I was kind of standoffish when I got to a new one because I'm getting older and I'm like, I'm coming from this area. I don't know y'all like that. I don't know if you're going to cross me. But then, you know, the pastor spoke to me and he was like, yo, like, you about to get out of this season. No distractions. It's the next season. And then eventually I became a member there. It's actually my cousin's church, which is Fresh Start Ministries. Make sure y'all there 10:30s on Sundays. So I'm just letting y'all know, man, if y'all need a church, 10:30 a.m. Come on, Fresh Start Ministries.
And that's where?
Well, that's 107 Sandy Drive in Newark, Delaware.
All right, there you go.
So yeah, yeah, you know, got to plug in the church. But you know, me going there, it changed my life. And the way the church really changed my life was, it's not I'm gonna say it's not a traditional church, but it's not like a by the book church, so to speak. It's more so we come in here with healing and deliverance. Of course, you have your worship and everything, but you come in there and you get healed and you get delivered and you get right. And that changed our whole aspect from motivated by losses to Stormbreakers to now.
And with everything that you have going on, right? Everything that you had going on prior and everything that you have going on now, what do you see as far as like the youth, as far as the impact to you know, to try to draw the youth, either draw the youth in or try to turn the youth around? Your part, you know, because we can't take over, we don't want to take over, we don't want to change, we can't change the world all at once.
Yeah.
You know, but
to be honest, I want to live this out. I want to show them, because a lot of people that when they talk to the youth, they just tell them. You know, if you notice, you go to motivational conferences or you speak to kids, you're talking to them. Don't do this, don't do that. A lot of them kids ain't gonna listen because you're just talking to them. You have to. We're living in a world now that I realize you have to show these kids something. You know, I'm gonna be real. Like, you know, kids from the streets, unfortunately they're killing each other. But why are they? Because they're seeing it. You know, and everybody's saying, even, you know, our age group, people are saying, man, there's so many negative marriages, or so many this, so many that. No, it's good marriages. You just aren't looking for them, and they're not being pushed to you. Like, you can look for them, you're just not. So with me, because crazy part is I'm actually a paraprofessional and I work with high school kids, and I'm also a behavior interventionist and I work with bad kids as well. So me doing that, I ain't gonna say the words, I guess it's psyche, but I understand the youth, what they're really going through. Most of these kids that are bad, they're not bad because they just want to be bad. Something's going on. And most of the times it either be at home, but most of the times working with the kids, it's not at home. It's really not. Like, you can And the Bible says, train up a child the way he should go, and when he gets old, he shouldn't depart from it, right? You can train your child to be the greatest A student in the world. But if your child gets influenced by the wrong people, now, you did everything you could, but now your child is going through it, and you got to figure out, how do I get him or her out, or do I just let it be? And me coming in there, I take that in my music where it's like, I'm going to give you the hustle side. I'm going to give you how to, encourage your faith, because there's youth out here, whether it be youth ministries or just people in the streets that need faith. They need encouragement. Like
of
you know,
some sort.
Yeah,
Of some sort.
And people do not know that everybody's looking for the next. People are tired of being negative and dying and spiritual and all of that. People are looking for the greatness, the happiness. They're looking for peace. They're looking for a new life, but they don't know where it's at. They don't know who's showing it to them. You see it online, but even if somebody's showing it to you online, you look at them like it's staged and it's fake. I'm not in front of you to see it. So when people see me, oh snap, you really living out this type of life. You're really doing this. I'm not married, but you're really holding down your wife when, God willing, but those type of things. And they see it like, oh, this is not, you can change your life from this to this.
That's where being a beacon of hope, just like you said, just sometimes you can tell people, you can talk to people all day long, but if they don't see it, what's the purpose? They're not going to really be, it's not really going to draw them in.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel. That's just the way I feel. Because one of the things you mentioned earlier about the youth and being taught at home. One saying that I always disliked, I'm not going to say hated, but one saying that I always disliked was, don't do as I do, don't do as, what is it? Don't do as I do as I say do.
Yeah.
I never liked that, because that means in my eyes, that means you can watch me sit here and drink and tear up the house and smack your mom around.
Yeah.
But just, you don't do it. I never got with that type of stuff. But anyway, so you mentioned about being a paraprofessional. And can you elaborate on what that is and what that means, what you actually do? Because some people may not know what it is. Of course, I know what it is. But.
So I'm in high school. So basically I work with one-on-ones. So a kid might have autism, and usually with high school kids, their autism, I don't want to say it's like low, but they're out there, they can still function, but they still need help here and there. So I would go to, like, let's say we're in homeroom at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. But then you have math class. I go with you to your math, go with you to reading, go with you to science, go with you to every single class and help you with your classwork. And then I would work with special needs kids too. And with special needs kids, they
started
have
buffering a little bit.
Yeah. So for special needs kids,
started buffering a little bit.
Oh, you good? All right.
Good now.
Yeah, so with special needs kids, they offer they sometimes have autism, or they just need help. So I'm pretty much one-on-one. I'm kind of like their chaperone. If they need help, they need help.
Yeah. It's like anything else in life. Sometimes we need somebody to help us, to guide us. That's what mentors are for. Basically, you're a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just like an everyday, all day life situation, and I don't care how old we get. Speaking of age, just a few minutes ago, you mentioned about our age group. I think you fail to realize, man, I'm 51 years old, so we're not in the same age group. But
you're over 25 to me, man.
Thank you. I'll take that. Minus the gray hair, but I'll take that. But yeah, so actually, I want to get to a couple more questions, and hopefully you'll respond. If you get a couple more answers out, and because we try to help people, no matter what the situation, we try to help people, right? So we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about addiction real quick. I don't know your full story, your full background. Some people and I'm not trying to dig too deep. But one thing I am going to mention is we're all affected by addiction, substance abuse, no matter whether we're the user or whether we're not. Where do you play a part in the helping in that area?
For the youth?
For youth or older, either or.
For the youth, I kind of do. It's like with their addictions, it's kind of to their phones. So with me, I kind of shoot the idea of giving them conversations, because what happens is a lot of these kids don't have conversations, and when they do, they're not positive conversations. And what I realized with the youth is when you're able to talk to them the right way, they'll understand it and then they'll open up to you. And then as far as older people, I haven't really dealt with them as well, but I've seen, older people get addicted to drinking, for example, weed and stuff like that. Like I've seen it. And granted, some older people are too into it to a point where they can't get out, and I understand. All I can do is pray for them. But when I do get an opportunity to speak to older people, I tell them, hey, look, where did if they allow me to, where did this come from? What is the actual root? Because if you think about it, a lot of people that are addicted, they're angry, they go through things. People don't understand that when you argue with somebody, it's like, for example, if you get, you married or whatever cases, if you are, but when you married, right, and you argue with your partner, y'all probably arguing about something that happened 2 months ago. Like if the dishes ain't clean, she start flipping out. Why the dishes not clean? It's not that the dishes ain't clean. It's that y'all haven't spoke about what happened 2 months ago. And once y'all speak about that and get out the way, then she ain't gonna nag about so much, and vice versa.
I'm not married, but I'm hoping I would like to have that argument. I would like to have that argument.
Yeah.
Never mind. That might that might have went over somebody's head. But,
I get it.
I'm in search of. But
sure.
so you're in the helping business, and being in the helping business is it takes a toll on you. Sometimes we had I remember working in the field, and we used to have mental health days, or that we actually get time off, just from taking on other people's issues and other people's stuff all day, and on top of our own. So what do you do? What does Isaiah Lee do to decompress? Give us a technique that you use other than music.
Nah, for real. You know what the crazy part is? I really don't know what I do to decompress. Like outside of reading my Bible and chilling, I really don't know what I do. Because
you just answered it.
You're right. I guess I'm thinking outside of that.
Outside of the music, but you answered it. You said you read your Bible and chilling. So I'm guessing reading your Bible, that's your decompression tool. But it works.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that, because the subtopic is a spiritual journey.
Yeah.
So, and since we're winding down here a little bit, how's your spiritual journey? What has your spiritual journey been like? What has your spiritual journey? How was it for you to? What was the steps, or because some other people might be in the same situation. They might be trying to move on to what you do as far as your Christian rap from secular music or however, whatever, right? But what was your process like?
In the Bible is somebody called Job, and a lot of people know who Job is. That's exactly who my life was, where it was like I'm going through it. Everything was good at one point, and then it just came crashing down. But I still praise God anyway. Me going through, crying in my room, praying every day. The waiting season is stressful. I'm still waiting for things to be answered. And part of me is like, they not coming. I don't really care, but I got to keep the faith, because if I don't keep the faith in the vision, then I'm a hypocrite, because I got something called visionary faith. And that can't go. But just being honest, just talking to God and being honest, because what I ended up learning was I was never an honest person. I could finesse a cat. For real. I knew how to talk.
I can see that too. I can see that. Go ahead.
Now I remember, I lied to you now. I remember I was working at Amazon, and my homie, one of my young guys, I met him at a club a long time ago, and that was my dude. But we ended up working at Amazon together, and he literally told me, he was like, Isaiah, when I first met you, you seem like you could set people up. I'm like, why you say that? he kept it real, but that was part of my life. I wasn't setting people up, but I knew so many people, and I knew what to do, how to do it, to the point where it was like, I don't know, but the Lord delivered me from that. But I just had to be honest with him, because I was like, yo, I don't like the way life is going. I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling that. And he let me vent, and then he restored me. But that helped me, because now I'm honest with other people. If I don't like the music, I'm going to tell you I don't like it. If I don't want to do this, I'm going to tell you. If I tell you you're wrong, I'm going to correct you in love, but you just ain't right.
It's not you setting people up. It's them setting themselves up. But that's the way I see it. Because if you don't want to know the truth, don't ask. Or if you don't want my opinion, don't ask.
When I meant set people up, it's a whole different story.
All right. So what can people expect out of Isaiah Lee? And you said you had a new project coming up, and
Yep,
new music project coming up.
yep.
So what can
Mhm.
people expect from Isaiah Lee's music? If I'm going through certain situations, what can we expect when
Um,
hearing your music?
ooh, good question. So you for the first title track is called Just Like You. And the hook is I bleed just like you bleed. I cry just like you cry. I'm fighting with my flesh. I wonder will it die? Sometimes I'm losing faith, but still I wonder why. So with that being said, is I'm just like you. And then it says, I'm asking God, but I'm just like you. So with that being said, I'm just like you. Like whether you believe in the Lord or you don't, or whatever the case may be, I'm just like you. I'm not any better than you. That's what you're gonna get from that project. So you feel like, dang, he might do music or he might be this person, but he's still a human. Then you have
Yeah.
the song, qualified, where it's like if you have a job, you're qualified for it. In the Bible, God qualifies the call. I mean, yeah, yeah. I forgot how to. I don't want to get it wrong, but I feel like that's how it's
Don't get
phrased.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, I
don't
don't
get it
want to get it
wrong.
wrong.
You don't want to
Yeah,
mislead people, man.
I got two different ways of saying it. But long story short, he qualifies. He basically calls the people that they feel that they're not qualified. He calls them and says, "Hey, come on, you can do this." Then you have the record. What's your excuse? And that basically is talking about, stacking your money or stewarding your money, I should say. Basically when I said part of it is like invest the paper, and the culture is invest the money. But in the biblical sense, it's steward what you have. When paper could be money, could be whatever, but steward what you have so you can have something for later. Then I put a part where basically I said I'm sowing seeds so you can get them later. In the Bible, there was a parable where a farmer had sowed some seeds and he kept going, and then they never know what was going to come up. So yeah, so you can get basically you're going to get a whole walk through a life and how to be better, but it's musical form.
So does this only pertain to particular age group, or say my 63-year-old uncle wants to listen to it?
Nah, it could pertain to anybody, literally, because hypothetically, your 63-year-old uncle can decide to, let's say he has some money stashed up and he wants to, let's just say, invest it in something small, just because he's bored and he ain't got nothing to do. You can listen to it and be like, man, I'm gonna invest this bread. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I believe that something's gonna happen out of this. But I don't know yet, but I believe it. So
Okay.
it can work with anybody.
All right. So I don't have a 63-year-old uncle, but I
Listen,
would just throw it out there
listen,
for
you
those
might.
that may. But all right. So last thing, man. Where can you be found? Where not your home and all that, but social media wise, how can people contact you? I mean, if do you speaking of contacting you, you know, I don't know about your bookings. How you do you get
Yeah.
bookings, or how does all that work with you?
So I'm actually in the process of doing bookings now. I'm in the process, like once I release this little project, I'm gonna try to tour maybe 2026, God willing. I'm working on different cities like Philly, Wilmington, obviously the hometown, but Miami, these different places. But if you want to book me, you can literally just get on my Instagram at real Isaiah Lee. And you can just check anything out. If you want to talk to me, you can. I'm gonna go on record and say I do not, and I'm just gonna be straight with you. I don't charge churches. I know there are people who are like, why are you saying? I'm being honest because I'm doing a service. I'm not charging the church this, and this. Like that's if God leads me there, I'm gonna go. But as far as like my actual tour dates, like me booking the venue and all that, then that's a whole different story. But as far as just like outreach and God wants me here, hit me up and I'm coming and we're gonna make it happen.
All right, all right. So is that your general way of contact through Instagram?
Instagram, and you can get me at Visionary Faith Records at gmail.com. I'll give it to y'all as well. So Visionary Faith
Visionary Faith. All right,
Records.
and you know, I'm really winding down. We're just down to seconds now, but last thing. I'm going to try to say I promise. We'll try to say I promise. Last thing. Um, so how are you, Isaiah Lee? How
Mm.
are you moving? toward the spiritual. What is your spiritual religious outlook right now, as far as where you started and until now?
Before I started, I didn't know much. I just was like a baby in it. You know, I was assuming like, oh, I'm a believer, but I can still go to the club and party. But once I start really reading the Bible and getting into it and figuring, oh, you can't do this because it's certain this way. That's where I'm at now. Now I'm kind of deep into it to a point where it's like, I can't go to the club. I don't like going anyway. I don't like standing there. I get bored, you know, but I can't do that. I can't be cussing. I can't be doing this because at the end of the day, people say that they're this and then they do something else. And now everybody thinks it's cool. I don't want to be in that category. I want to be in a category that's set apart. So now I'm learning to be set apart, to follow Christ, to really move that way.
I still find it kind of amazing how, it took me a minute to get to ask that question, because you saw me pause and skip a couple different times, but it all came full circle, and you hit the nail on the head. Yeah. Just the way, because I wanted you to say a particular thing. We didn't say 100%, but you got it to the point. You got right to the point. And I think a lot of people understand that. A lot of people respect that, because coming from certain types of lifestyles and coming from certain backgrounds, and then people move on to the spiritual or religious, through the spiritual and religious journey, and and they try to hold on to certain things. We try to hold on to certain things in our journeys, and it just won't work out. Especially when it comes to the spiritual and religious journey, it just won't work out. Some things you just have to let go. Some people you just have to cut off. Some actions you just can't do anymore, and because it'll separate, it'll break the connection. But I don't want to get into all that, because this is not what this is not. We're not on TBS or BET. We're not on that right now. But I just wanted to talk about that, and that was it, right? But we're just going to end this episode now with one more thing, and that one thing is, thank you for being on for the night, Isaiah Lee.
Yes, sir.
It's called episode. The topic was called "Pieces of Me," and that's what you got. You got pieces of Isaiah Lee, and you got pieces of life situations that you can put together and hopefully help benefit one another. And when I say benefit one another, I'm talking about each one teach one. So do you have anything you want to say before we leave, before we end this episode?
Like I say, you can follow Real Isaiah Lee. Jesus is number one. Make sure I get tight with him, because his life is going fast. Unfortunately, we lost the guy Charlie Kirk. He just passed today, so just know that. Yeah, just make sure you know that just get right with Christ. That's all I can tell you. I ain't got nothing else to say. If you want to follow, feel free, but that's the main message.
All right. Thank you for joining us tonight, Isaiah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everybody, for watching Life Chat Podcast. Thank you once again for being a part of the solution instead of part of the problem. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe to Life Chat Podcast. Have a great night. Be safe. Be blessed.